Good morning from Kennedy Space Center in Florida, where we are getting ready to launch Crew-12 on a mission to the International Space Station. Liftoff is scheduled for 5:15 a.m. Eastern Time this morning. NASA astronauts Jessica Meir and Jack Hathaway, European Space Agency astronauts Sophie Adenot, Roscosmos cosmonaut Andrei Fedyaev are all going to fly aboard a SpaceX Dragon spacecraft aboard a Falcon 9 rocket, heading up to the International Space Station for a long-duration mission of about 8 months. That is a trip that our guest with us this morning has taken a couple of times. This is Alex Gerst from the European Space Agency. He has flown aboard a Soyuz, and he went as part of Expedition 40 and 41 in 2014 and Expedition 56 and 57 in 2018. And Alex, I guess my first question to you has to be, as an experienced flyer, what is your advice to Sophie and Jack, who are making their first flights?
That's a good question. Of course, I get that a lot, but the fact that they're on the launch pad right now means they don't need my advice anymore. It was actually a really nice journey following Sophie from her selection. I was in her selection committee, and then I was her mentor in basic training, and led her through her assigned training. So it's really nice for me to see how she thrived in this new profession that she learned, and how she became a professional career astronaut, fully trained, and now she's ready with her crew. Her crewmates I also know very well. So for me, this is a really nice time. I'm on the rescue team, so as you know, we always have a plan B in space flight. So I'm ready to move out there if they have a contingency during ascent, which of course is very unlikely, but we're always prepared. So I'm there for the crew, but actually, it's not needed. They're on their way to the space station, fully trained for all those science experiments that they do. And for me, it's a most likely time to sit back and relax and enjoy that launch.
Excellent, excellent. And Alex, while you were up on the space station, what is some of the research that takes place there that is kind of focused on deep space exploration and those long duration missions out into deep space?
Yeah, that's actually also a very exciting topic. As you know, we do every expedition about 300 experiments. Most of them are actually targeted to make life on Earth better, but some of those experiments are important to advance space science, to help us to live out there, further out there on the moon, towards Mars. And one of the experiments, for example, I did was on the space station to see if we could live and operate devices autonomously, not closely connected to the ground. From the space station we have a sub-second connection to the ground, but when we fly to Mars, already on the moon, it's going to be a little bit further away. At latest on the way to Mars, we need to operate our vehicle completely autonomously with AI, with computers, and that was an experiment that I did. Also, we looked at using resources out there, like how to extract water from the soil of the moon, and so very important things. So yeah, indeed, when we fly to the moon, we actually built that on the basis of this fantastic laboratory, the International Space Station, and when we go to Mars, we will learn from the moon.
Excellent, excellent. Along with that, of course, a lot of this, like you mentioned, a lot of the research on space station has to do with life here on Earth. What is some of the stuff that's researched in space that people on Earth should be excited about?
Yeah, pretty much all of it. So I would say 90 to 95% of the research that we do on the space station is targeted to make life on Earth better. In all disciplines, like really, we find that scientists on Earth often get to a point where they cannot advance their research because they need an experiment where they need to switch off gravity for one reason or the other. That's when we get in. That's when we take those experiments up on the space station. We help them to get over that gap, to bridge it, and then advance their science again on Earth. And the fields that we work on, for example, that are very relevant to many of us is like diseases, understanding diseases better. Like, for example, how to treat cancer tumors. We do that in space because they grow in weightlessness much more similar like they grow in the human body compared to on Earth when they would grow in a petri dish. So if we test medications on those cancers, tumors on the space station, they act much more like in a human body, and that means we can test medications better. And I would have like hundreds of more examples on different fields of science or medicine. But yeah, definitely a lot of it, like new materials, right, for your car, for airplane engines, things that you don't often know that you're actually using space technology. They come from the space station. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Alex. So we're going to talk about a lot of that and more during NASA's launch broadcast for Crew-12. Again, launch time 5:15 a.m. Eastern Time. Our broadcast will start at 3:15. We hope you can join us. Thank you.